Welcome back. I'm Najee Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast, where we believe that everybody has to earn a living, but nobody has to have a job. Because a job is just where you go to trade time for money, and they're usually miserable. We don't want jobs. We want work. And there's a really big difference. The definition of work is using your time and your energy in alignment with your passion to build or contribute to something that is important to you, something that you find meaningful. Getting a job has to do with surviving. Choosing your work has to do with thriving. Getting a job has to do with not dying. Choosing your work has to do with living. And here's another thing about us here at the No Job Podcast. We're crazy enough to believe that we can make money with our work, that we can get paid through fulfilling our purpose. We really and truly believe that. That's the heart and soul of what we do here. And listen, this is not for everybody, but I know it's for me, and I believe it's for you too. Listener, I believe that this is for you. And if you decide to do this, not just dream about it, because everybody dreams about this, but if you commit to doing this, right, you are choosing the road less traveled. That's for sure. It's the path to joblessness, and it is hard. And if you're like me, when things are difficult, you need encouragement. And not only that, you also need information. Most of us are first gen here. We can't just ask mom and dad how you start your own business. We don't have an uncle to ask how things really work, right? That's why this podcast exists, to bring you encouragement and to bring you the information you need to succeed on the path to joblessness. I bring on guests who are making money doing what they want to, and they share with us what it takes to live that life. They share with us what it takes to get there. We work on our mindsets together. We train ourselves to see things that we need to see them in order to do what we need to do, because perception, my friends, is everything. This is a resource to aid you, to help you on the path to no job, to take you step by step through the process of leaving the 9-to-5 nightmare and finally working your dream for a living like you were always meant to, like you should have been trying to do from the start. This is a calling for me because I have always hated jobs, and I just know I am not the only one out there who feels that way. And because of that hatred for jobs and that strong desire to work for myself, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes trying to break free from the job cycle. I've quit jobs that paid well without a real plan and paid the price. I've gone out and attempted ventures that I had no business doing and lost big. But I can't give up on that. I can't give up on this. And I'm here to make sure you don't make the same mistakes that I did on my path, so that you can do this thing the right way. I believe in you, team. Let's do this. This is the No Job Podcast. A big part of what we do here is flipping the script, learning to think about things differently, because common perspectives suck. I know they suck because they lead to common outcomes. And most people don't like the outcomes that they have. We have to change the way that we think if we want to change what we actually see in our lives, if we want to change what we do to contribute to our reality. And listen, you guys may know from season 1, I was so desperate to not have a job that I quit the job that I had, which paid quite well, to sell life insurance for a living, because I thought I was going to be rich, even though I never sold a thing in my life, right? And I didn't know how to sell. And I failed in that business, but I learned a lot. Because when you go to sell anything, people don't just say, okay, I'll pay the first time you offer or explain what you have. Most of the time, there are objections. And in the business of life insurance or anywhere else that you're doing sales, if you have a mentor or a trainer worth anything in this world, he or she is going to teach you to respond to common objections, to be ready for common objections, to be ready and know what to say when someone resists your offer or has a question or a rebuttal to your offer to sell them something. And the first person you have to sell on your ability to succeed on the path to no job is yourself. The first person you have to sell is you. So why don't we turn that concept inward, and instead of worrying about the objections that other people might have, why don't we worry about the objections that we bring to ourselves? What are the common objections that we have to our own pursuit of our dreams? What are our common objections to our own pursuit of the path to no job? Right? Here's one that comes to mind. So I follow another page. It's called Don't Keep Your Day Job, and it's about similar things to this podcast. It has sort of a different spirit, but it's the same idea. I follow their page on IG, great page. And on one of their posts, right, I saw a woman, and the post was encouraging people. It said, pursue your dreams, you can do it, something generic but meaningful. And a woman commented under it. She said, I really want to get into fitness and yoga instruction, but I feel there are so many people in that business already. There are just so many people doing it. I don't know if I can really break through. And you know what I thought? Because that was a common objection. I recognized it. People always think that. Who am I to do X, Y, Z? Someone's already doing it. I thought to myself, wow. Thank God all the people in this country who are firefighters didn't think like that. Thank God all the doctors and nurses didn't think that. Thank God that those kinds of people didn't say, oh, there's already so many nurses. There's already so many doctors. There's already so many firefighters. There's already so many teachers. There's already so many lawyers. There's so many that I can't possibly have a place in that world. And that's what she was really saying. She was saying, I don't think I have a place in that world because so many people occupy the spaces. And I couldn't help myself. I commented back right on her comment. I didn't even know the lady. I said, why would you think that? The real question is, can you add value? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you need to go out and do your thing. You need to go out and try it. You need to go out and give it your best effort, because if you believe you can be helpful, that means you believe there's someone out there that needs your help. And it's not about how many people there are in this market. It's about you connecting to those people that no one else is going to be able to connect to in the way that you connect to them. You are necessary in your field. The reason that doctors and nurses and firefighters often don't think that there are so many people in this space, why can't I do it? It's because society has taught them that being a doctor is possible. It may be difficult, but it can be done. Somewhere along the line, we got the perception that the things we want to do are impossible. And rather than just saying that, we come up with any number of excuses to get ourselves off the hook from having to try and having to risk failure. Which brings me to my second objection. The second common objection that you are going to bring to yourself whenever the prospect of pursuing your dreams come up, right? What if I fail? What if I don't make it? What if I try really hard? What if I put in so much time and effort? What if I really get my hopes up and believe it can happen and then I fail? I'll tell you what happens. You live to see another day. I've been there. When I went off to sell life insurance, having no idea what I was doing, I made $50,000 less that year than I had the previous year just working a regular job. And I survived. When I got a new job and got laid off of that job because of the coronavirus pandemic, I survived. And that brings me to another point. What if you fail in your pursuit? What if you get fired from your job? A lot of people recently learned that can happen too. That is an excuse. That is you keeping you from doing what you were meant to do. And back to my main point here, back to the central focus, the fact of the matter is, you might fail. I might fail. You may fail, but if you do, you will survive. Your survival is certain. We're not talking about, guys, we're not talking about walking a tightrope, right, across two skyscrapers. Because if you fail in that, you're going to die. This isn't that. Yes, this is scary. Yes, this involves your deepest desires and your heart and soul. But if you take that risk and you fail, you live to see another day, and you know that you've tried. 2 common objections. Is there a space for me? So many other people are in this market. Yes, there's a space for you. There are so many untapped people that you can talk to that nobody else can talk to or connect to. Common objection number 2. What if I fail? What if you don't? I'm Najee Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast. So this is going to be something like an advice column, and I'm actually looking for your participation. You can DM me on Instagram at the No Job Podcast, or email me thenojobpodcast@gmail.com, and tell me about your questions on your path to no job. And the idea for this segment occurred to me actually because a friend of mine who's pursuing music asked me something, and I thought it'd be a great idea to share my answer with everyone because I think it's widely applicable to all kinds of people pursuing all kinds of things. My friend's name, Christian Amadeo. He's an artist, great singer, guitar player. He plays worship at the church that I go to, Upper Room Church in Dix Hills, here on Long Island. He's an awesome guy, and he recently released a single that I suggest you check out. It's called Wish I Knew, on all music platforms. Awesome song. And I was listening to it the other morning, and I texted him. I said, hey man, I was listening to your song this morning. There's no question about your talent. The only thing left to prove is how hard you're willing to work and how much risk you're willing to take for it being a career in music. And I said, that question can only really be answered with actions. He says, thanks so much. That's a huge compliment. I appreciate it. Second, it's really funny you just texted me this because I was having these exact thoughts. I'm sitting at my desk, and it's not that I hate my job. I'm fortunate, but what I want is music. It's natural to me. He was in his apartment. He's getting married in June, just got the apartment. Wife's going to move in a couple months. And I think it just gave him a moment to think about what he really wanted. And he said to himself, what's my excuse now? And he said, when he thought about it, there was none. Then he asked me, he said, what are some ways that you think I can improve and take better action? How do you think I can improve my inputs? So that's a really great question, first of all, because it's starting at the root, because the root of all this is what you do. Sometimes people ask how to get the outcome when people really should be asking how to put in the inputs. So Christian Amadeo is already one step ahead of most people, and I can tell that by the way he phrased this question. In one creative and important way, I think that question can be answered. How can I improve my actions toward my dreams, my goals, my destiny? I think that question can be answered with a question Christian Amadeo and everyone else out there who has a dream that he or she is working towards. If 10 years from today, you were making a living doing what you loved and wanted to do, Christian Amadeo, if you were making a living singing, writing songs and playing the guitar, if you at home were making a living writing songs, if you were making a living with your own business, if you were making a living as a motivational speaker, if you were making a living doing what you wanted to do, and I did an interview with you, I brought you on the No Job podcast, and I said, hey man, how'd you do it? What did it take to get here? If I asked you that question and you had to answer whatever it is that you're doing right now, today, not what you fantasize about doing, not what you plan to do, not what you're thinking about doing. If your answer had to be the things you are doing right now, and in 10 years, you said doing those things led to you having the fulfillment of your dream, would it sound like a lie? Would it make sense? Right? If you wanted to be a professional bodybuilder and you only lift once a week now, and you only stick to your diet 3 days a week, nobody would believe you if 10 years from now you were world class and you said that's what you did. It would sound like a lie. Here's what I'm getting at. I think deep down inside, most of us know what we need to do, right? Most of us know what we need to do. If you're not, I realize there's a pandemic, but in this music example, if you're not playing gigs now, why do you think you'll be playing gigs in 10 years? Right? Right? If you're not doing gigs now in whatever it is, you want to be a photographer. If you're not taking pictures for people now, why do you think you'll be taking pictures for people in 10 years? If I came to you 10 years from now and you're doing everything that you wanted to do and making the kind of money you want to do doing it, you have a pretty good idea of what you would say you had to do to get there. Reverse engineer it. Do that. Because there are no promises in this world. Nobody's going to pick you up and rescue you and say, do the hokey pokey, turn yourself around and you're going to have this career. You know the kinds of things you have to do to give yourself a shot. Get out there and do them. And my second question would be related to that one. My answer to the question of how can I make my efforts better? I would say, do you have a consistent plan of action? Because feelings go up and down like the tide, like a roller coaster. Feelings are always changing, and they can be affected by how much sleep you got the previous night or even what you ate. Feelings are unreliable and they're always changing. Your confidence can waver, but even when your confidence wavers, your commitment doesn't have to. Here's what I mean by that. If you feel less confident in your vision than you ever have before, but you still do the things you promised yourself that you would do to reach your goal, your shot has not been diminished one iota. Not one. If you let your feelings get the best of you by interfering with your plan of action, you are letting your chances slip away. Because guess what? Whether you do what you're supposed to or not, the sun is going to rise, the sun's going to set, and a day will have passed. And a piece of your opportunity, the opportunity called your life, a piece of that opportunity will be gone. Get busy. You have no time to waste. Form a plan of consistent action. What am I going to do every day? What am I going to do every week? What am I going to do every month? That when it's added up over the course of 10 years, it's going to equal something that gives me a real shot of having what I say I want. Get real. So to the question, how can I make my efforts better? How can I increase the quality of my efforts? You need to think deeply about what you would really have to do to get where you want to be. Instead of just dreaming about being there, you have to actually think about what you would have to do to get there, write those things down, and make a plan to do them. And number two, you need a consistent plan of action. You need categories, daily actions, weekly actions, monthly actions, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. And over time, you have no idea what it can amount to. And I'll just end this with a quote from the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant. He told his daughters this when his jersey was retired. He said, if you pursue your dreams and you work hard every day, if you dedicate yourself fully and completely to it, your dreams will not come true. Something better will. My name is Najee Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast.